You're gonna edit this out, I imagine.
Maybe. Depends on how it goes. This is where we'll insert goal horns and
horns.
goal horn. Crowd goes wild.
You know how to do that?
Nope.
All right.
That's what we're gonna do. You ready?
In second. Send file. There we go.
Just take your time.
Ready to go.
You ready to go?
Yep.
All right. So this is going to be our first attempt at this. So take it easy on us. We do want feedback because we want to make this enjoyable for the kids and for the rents. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got your Parma stuff on. That's great.
Yep.
So what I want to do is I want to recap the preseason, not game by game naturally, but just look at the teams that that are in our division after the preseason. Talk about where they're currently ranked, what those ratings are, how those ratings are formulated, right? Because I think it's important to know what goes into that. So when you're playing these games and you're thinking about like, hey, we're down by 6 goals, you really want to make sure that goal differential shrinks.
Yep.
Right. So stuff like that. We're going to do that. We're going to kind of talk about a little bit, what goes into that. And then we're also going to talk about the upcoming games this weekend, 2 of which are season games. One is another scrimmage, but we're going to talk about those as well and maybe some other things that come up.
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
So who do we have in our division, Rich? We got Shaker Heights Red Raiders. We got the Strongsville Mustangs, Elyria Panthers, Cleveland Sharks, Worcester Oilers, and then naturally our team.
Yeah.
Riveting. Riveting stuff.
It's riveting. Definitely riveting.
So let's start with Shaker Heights Red Raiders. They're currently rated at, and this goes through this past weekend. So if you check my hockey rankings, etc., it may be off. Don't give us a hard time. I try to keep this as updated as today, but some teams did play and I had to change it. But the rating for the Red Raiders is 70.31. That leaves them at a ranking of 69. Strongsville Mustangs, the rating at 72.39 puts them at a ranking of 62. The Elyria Panthers, 74.19, a ranking of 57.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
That's a big jump for sure. The Cleveland Sharks, which is their only Pee Wee team.
Yep.
A 71.52, a ranking of 65. And the Worcester Oilers, same as the Cleveland Sharks. Not enough kids, apparently. It's their only Pee Wee team at 70.08 with a ranking of 71.
Yep.
And then our boys and girls, our kids, right? Parma Flyers, a rating of 70.90 and a ranking of 66. Any thoughts on that immediately? Obviously, the Panthers jump out big there.
Yeah, they obviously have a higher ranking. They're 57. Personally, probably a low A1. I don't know how good A1 was. I really didn't look. Don't really care because we're at A2. However, they have played one game and they completely obliterated the team that they played. I can't remember who they played. It was 9-3. Yeah. So they already have a +6 goal differential. And I think they played, I want to say Shaker Heights, who we lost to 5-3 in the preseason.
Okay.
And I think they beat them 9-3. So, I mean.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be a hard team. I mean, we'll talk about it again, but we did not have a good game against them.
God, no.
It was not good. But why the ratings are important because everything you do on the ice as a team impacts that, right? So some of the things that are in the calculation, your win-loss record, and I believe this is all over a 10-game period, right? So that window continues to move over the most recent 10 games. Yep. But your win-loss record is in there. Your goal differential is in there. It caps at ±7. So that's why it's important, to keep games, close and keep them relevant. And even if it starts to get away from you, claw that back and get it to that 7 cap. And then, it also takes into consideration the opponent's ranking and rating as well. So, when you're out there playing, you just want to make sure that you understand all the effort and what you put into it, what the output is. So, any thoughts on that as a division? I mean, I'm glad we're not driving all the way to Fremont. I can tell you that.
We love that barn. That place is a beautiful place. It's one of my least favorite. Really not a big fan of their team either. And we're not going to Rocky River, so that means no 7 a.m. games. Thank God for that, because I love those so much as a grown adult. Anyways, kidding aside, honestly, there's a significant separation between the top of the division and the two teams that are after them. Strongsville and Shaker, Strongsville and the Cleveland Sharks are the closest to them. But that 57 puts us, 9 points off their pace.
Yeah.
What I know is that when we play previous tournaments, that 9-point differential is a huge deal. It definitely is a gap. I also believe that our preseason was structured more difficult than most. I think we played a lot of A1 teams, and we played some out of state talent that was better than us. Hopefully that hardens us for the season and prepares us for the effort that's needed to play a team like Elyria.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna go over the preseason record of everybody in the division. Obviously, was not good for us,
No.
right?
Right.
But to your point, and I hope everybody understands this, like that's when you want to lose. Like that's when you want to test yourself, when it's outside of the scope of working toward a championship, right? Like.
Yep.
Play those hard teams, find out what you're made of, and then just get better because of it. And because I will tell you, when we played teams that we were more closely matched with, they were far better games.
Absolutely.
Especially as the preseason continued.
100%.
So, all right. So the preseason records, we're going to start with Shaker Heights. Shaker Heights finished 2-8 with a goal differential of -26. So you can score against them.
Well,
right?
Yep.
So they're ranking at 69. The Strongsville Mustangs finished the preseason at 4-6 with, and this is going to be relevant, by the way, with a goal differential of only -2. And when you look at their game this past weekend, which we'll get looking forward to our game against them, they clearly keep games close.
Yeah, actually, they played Shaker. It was 2-1.
Okay.
So I was incorrect in that.
Okay. But that's going to be a team we're going to talk about it that you can't take your foot off the gas.
Right.
They're keeping it close, right?
The one thing you had made mention of that game that they played was a 2-1 contest where Strongsville won. Now, keep in mind, a little hope for the people out there is Strongsville's a 62. Shaker is a 69. That game was really close. So that just tells you like these rankings maybe skewed, maybe not. But it does give a little bit of hope there because that was a really tight contested game.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because the ranking shouldn't intimidate you, nor should it cause you to be intimidated.
Right.
It doesn't, you know what I mean?
It's a ranking.
It's a ranking.
Yeah.
The Elyria Panthers finished at 6-3 with a +18 goal differential. I mean,
they got 8 against us, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Cleveland Sharks finished at 3-4 with a goal differential of -11. That's an organization that I've never really been able to figure out. I mean, we played them when we were squirt ones.
Yeah, they were pretty good. When we were A3.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we played them in A2. I have a feeling their Pee Wee team is probably pretty good.
They had some big kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one kid who might have even been a little bit bigger than Richie. I mean, they were big kids.
Yeah.
Tons of hair.
They're corn fed, not beef fed. There you go.
Right. Worcester Oilers finished at 6-1-1 with a goal differential of +42.
Keep that in mind. When you hear that +42, maybe played a cupcake schedule. We did play them once in the preseason, and we tied 1-1. Should have won that game. We had a bad defensive sequence towards the end of that one, and we ended up losing or tying them actually.
Yeah.
It was a frustrating game because I felt like we outplayed them.
Yeah. And that's a team, they don't have an additional Pee Wee team, right? So all their talented is concentrated into one team.
Yep.
I don't remember the size of their bench,
It was pretty big. I think they
Was
had
it?
18 skaters.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, a plus 42, that is a team that freaking scores.
Oh, yeah.
They put the puck in the net,
For sure.
right? And then, our kids finished the preseason at 2-10-1 with a goal differential of minus 52. Now, I think it's important, really, really important to stress that the goal differential doesn't get laid on the goalies primarily.
100% not. No.
Right? I mean, you got to understand the game of hockey to really understand what's happening in front of the goalie, and what is something where the goalie should have stopped it versus what is something where their forwards were cutting up our defenders and ended up with a one-on-one. Right. So that negative 52 goal differential, I that doesn't really mean much to me, even though like I think about the plus 42 for Worcester.
Yeah.
But the preseason is what it is. It's done.
Yeah, I think some key takeaways. Obviously, that minus 50 is a gaudy number. I really do believe we did play a tough schedule. With a new team and some cohesion issues, I think we started off relatively rough. I think, that we had high hopes. I think the gelling and the lines really weren't figured out. We were missing some key kids in some games. And honestly, I think earlier we played some tough teams off the rip, and I don't think we were in shape from a cardiovascular sense, where the kids, obviously, during practice, as you noticed, that Mike started pushing them with chase drills, competition drills to get that cardio up, obviously the ladders that they were doing. And then, at the end of the day, like you said, preseason is a preseason. It's done and over with. But hopefully we're getting in at the right time for them to click and gel as a team and hopefully take that to the regular season.
Yeah. I mean, I think you look at our transitioning from offense back to defense. I think there were, particularly early on, and you bring up a good point about the conditioning. I just think there were a lot of odd man opportunities for the other teams, right? Sure. So getting that buttoned up and tightened up as you really progress through the season, that goal differential, it's going to be a thing of the past.
Right.
For sure. So, I mean, what other thoughts do you have on the preseason before we start to talk about what's coming up this weekend?
I think we touched on the preseason piece. I think it's in the backlog. We played tough teams. We played that Pittsburgh team that came in. And then obviously we had that bad game against Elyria. I feel in the preseason that game against Elyria, the boys came, and boys and girls I should say, came out. They were fierce in that first period. We got scored on, and I think a little air out of the balloon, and then obviously it just opened up. I think that specific, you talked about the defense. I think we were out of position. Our offense was out of position. I think we were just still really kind of learning each other and not really in the right positions. And I feel like as the end of the preseason kind of came to a conclusion, the lines started to solidify, and you started to see some better puck movement, some trust. People are going to be where they're going to be, and obviously there's still things to work on. But
yeah. I can't help but look at that Elyria game and feel like it was an anomaly after the first period.
Right.
Like I didn't go back and watch it today or again, right? But just thinking about remembering that game, you're right. The levee had a leak and then it broke.
Yes.
So
we let it in.
Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about this weekend because the regular season is actually here. A couple teams have already played each other. I think you have that.
Yep.
But let's this is when it matters. Like these are the season games. These are the games that you have to go out and leave it all on the ice.
Yep.
You have to.
Yep.
Right? So, if you're out there for 1 minute skating or you're out there on a longer shift that's 2 minutes, you have to come off that ice feeling like I gave everything I had.
100%.
Right? Because this is when it starts to matter. So Friday, November 21st at 7:20 p.m., an away game versus the Mustangs. So I know there's some things you want to say here, but we did play them in the preseason.
Yep.
We beat them 2-1. They did 4-3. Excuse me.
Yep.
4-3.
Yep.
They have played a season game already. They won 1-2.
Yep.
Both one-score games.
Yep.
And when you look at that goal differential. And I remember the game we played against them, we were up 2-0.
It was actually 3.
Was it 3-0?
Yeah, we were up 3-0 at the end of the first period.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, at the end of the first period, 3-0.
So all of their games have been close through the preseason. Stats don't lie about that.
Yep.
But what do you think about that game? Strongsville being a 62 ranking compared to our 66.
I think that was probably one of our better preseason games that we did play. I felt that there was really good passing in that game. I thought that our kids had the hustle. I thought they were chasing pucks, 50-50 pucks, trying to get their hands on it. I think at the end of the day, Friday starts their quest to make a playoff bid. There are kids on this team that are hardened, that have never seen the playoffs before, and it's going to take a heck of a lot of effort, and Strongsville will be a great test out the gate.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I like the fact that it's close, right? I realize there are people that live further away, but what I mean is, we're not traveling a long way to go to our first game of the season. Right. Yeah, sure, it's, at 7:20, but it's on a Friday.
One thing I noticed is I feel like the kids after school, for some reason, they play better.
So we had a really great Friday game, late night game in Parma.
Yeah. Yep. I think that was the Worcester game, and it was a 1-1 tie. But
it was Worcester.
That was the best game that they played in the preseason. It was cohesion. There was passing. There was excellent defense. Good goaltending, obviously. So I think maybe a Friday night after school may work.
Yeah. So then we play on Saturday, the 22nd at 12:30 in Kent.
Yep.
Against the Cyclones. I'm going to be honest. I know there are two teams that are the Tri-County Cyclones. I'm not sure which one we play.
No, we're playing the 2 team. They're AA team. They play AA.
Okay.
So they have I'm sorry, they're A1. Excuse me. They're a high A1. This A2 team, I think, is A3. Obviously, they're not in our division. I think it's an excellent opportunity for our kids to come out and work on things. But just because it's an A3 team, just because they're a higher A3 team, doesn't mean we take it easy. We don't coast. It's a scrimmage, but it's an excellent opportunity to work on getting better at things that Mike and his coaching staff have been pushing.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm right, if this is the right team, they're a rating of 76.02, right? So our rating is a 70.9.
Yeah. So we're 6 points ahead of
them.
Yeah.
But it like you said, like these are the games that, even though it's not a season game, these are the games where the things that you're being asked to work on in practice, whether it's edge work, whether it's moving the puck out of the offensive zone into the defensive zone, whatever that is, right? Just making sure that you're following through in those things you're being coached to do, right? Yep. Because that will then translate to a season game like Sunday.
Yeah, right.
Right? So Sunday, I'm of the 3 games, I'm most excited about Sunday, if I'm being honest, because of this talk.
All right.
I really want to see where we match up for real.
Yep.
So 11:23 at 4:15, our first home game of the actual season, and it's Elyria.
Yep.
So they're coming to our place instead of us playing in their 3/4 of a barn with their stupid lighting in there. It's terrible. I hate that. I hate that rink. We played them in October. And it was bad loss, 2-10.
They shellacked us, yeah.
Yeah, shellac. That's the best word for it.
Yeah.
But what do you make of this? Like, what would you tell these kids that got it handed to them 2-10 in the preseason?
Well, the one thing I will say is towards the back half of this preseason, I feel like our line's kind of formalized. Obviously, with Liam Fitzgibbon feeling better and playing games. Now you have 3 full offensive lines with shifts. Talented players across the lines. We did not have that, I don't think, for that game. I think we were missing some skaters. But I think the biggest thing I would say is that this is a regular season game. This is not something that should be taken lightly.
Right.
Like I always tell Richie, you got to leave it all out there. You're going to need to bring it. This team's going to come after them. They're very talented. They pass. I mean, they had some excellent cross-ice passes. They're spread out. We're going to have to really, it's almost like basketball. You play man-to-man coverage or football. Like, you're on your guy. Don't leave him. Obviously, keep the fundamentals of your position in play. However, it's going to be a tough test. And I'd be interested to see on an afternoon on a Sunday kind of what happens. I think it'll be an early litmus test, though.
Yeah, I think you said a couple things. So just for everybody here, when we told Coach we wanted to do this, we made it clear, like, hey, we're going to stay in our lane. We're fans of the game, obviously dads, right? But we're not going to give coaching advice or nobody should be listening to a word that comes out of my mouth. I'm stupid when it comes to playing the game of hockey. But you said some things that are important, I think. Like, I remember that game, and they had a kid who would shoot from back near the blue line pretty regularly.
Yeah, he'd fling it. Hard shot, too.
And, he wasn't really on target, but the rebounds were just served up for them.
Sure.
Right? So you got to make these guys that are willing to do that uncomfortable.
100%.
You got to crash the puck. You got to make it so their stick doesn't have an opportunity to get through their shot, right? You got to be willing to go hard after that puck, and maybe you take it off the chest or something, right?
That's why you wear pads.
Right. But if you do that, it's going to make it more difficult for them to get clean shots off, and those rebounds are going to be not as easy for them to pick up again.
Well, a lot of that they're flinging. If you got man to man, you're on your guy. Like, the wings are covering the points, and those guys are shooting. If there's a deflection off a skate, off a foot, off a stick, that could result in a breakaway the other way, which would be in our favor. So staying home, obviously those guys are going to fling it. But then if they do have the opportunities, just making sure you're looking for the puck. And then most importantly, protecting your goalie, making sure that he has the visibility on those shots.
Yeah. But I just think it's going to be really important against this team to stay all up in their grills.
100%.
In all honesty.
Aggression's going to win the game.
Yeah.
Puck pressure is going to win the game. If we
Speed.
come out lax, it's going to turn into a track meet.
Yeah.
So,
any thoughts on this upcoming weekend beyond that?
No, I just think we have 2 games, 2 regular season games, a scrimmage, and then we're kind of off for league play till the 28th of December. We obviously have 2 tournaments coming up in South Bend, Indiana, and then we're playing one in Cleveland. So these 2 early season games are very important, I feel, to set us off on the right foot. If you come out of it 1-1, you're looking pretty good. You come out 2-0, that's fantastic. We do not want to fall to 0-2.
For sure.
Got to at least win one of these games, but hopefully, they hear this and they, bring it. They're going to have to.
I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. So what would you say to, if you were in that locker room?
Yeah.
Right? Parents can't go in, but if you were.
I don't want to go in there, by the way, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah.
Spent enough time last year in it.
That's true. What would you say to your 3 lines of forwards? What do you want them to remember when they're out there?
Stay home, trust the process, play with aggression. If you got 2 defenders coming at you, you're entering the zone, dump and chase. You got to chase, though. Dumping and chasing is huge in hockey. Most people who watch the NHL or even AHL, Monster fans or whatever, know that if there's guys boarding you or taking you on the angle, as Mike trains our kids how to do to the offense or the other offense, and if we do that, dump and chase, I think it's going to create opportunities for us.
I think you said 2 phenomenal things, but I'm going to take trust the process, and I'm going to change it to trust your teammates.
Absolutely, 100%.
You have to, and I know, as a matter of fact, I think the kids have gotten tremendously better at this.
Yeah.
But you have to know where your place on the ice is, and you have to trust that your teammates know where their place on the ice is. If you have one person out of position, and then you have somebody that comes into their zone to compensate for them being out of position, you now have 2 people out of position.
Right.
And that's when you start getting bunched up in spots on the ice, and it makes it easier for them because there's so much open ice for them to move.
And they're good at, some of these teams are good at cross-ice passes.
Yes.
And that leads to breakaways or defensemen out of position just due to the fact that there's a congestion,
Yep. And then the other thing you mentioned, I think, is unbelievably critical, is getting that puck across the blue line deep into the zone. You can't make a move at the blue line. If you're the Wolf and you're carrying that puck and you get to the opposite blue line and somebody's there to pick you up, that is not the time to go vertical.
No.
That is not the time to dilly-dally and try to make a move, because you're wings or your center are crashing that blue line to hit it the same time that puck is.
Yep.
So you've got to keep that puck moving across the blue line, and then you end up, if you don't, you end up with stalled momentum
Yep.
and inevitably offsides.
Yep.
And those kind of penalties are going to happen, right? Incidentally.
Yeah.
But when you cause them by, deciding like, hey, now's the time I want to dally a little bit at the blue line, that's a bad decision.
Right.
So
100%.
what are you going to say what would you say to the defenders?
What would I say to the defenders? Well, stay in position. Obviously, you want to read where the puck is, staying inside the blue line. I think when we play timid, we're not always necessarily inside the blue line.
You mean playing too far back in the neutral
Too far back
zone?
in the neutral zone. I think that, honestly, be aggressive. That goes for offense too. I mean, honestly, if you put stick pressure on any of these younger children, these kids that play this game, it creates opportunities for mistakes, especially against good passing teams. So individual defense across the board, all 5 players have to play defense. But the defenseman, I just think that if you get an opportunity, you're on that blue line and you have a shooting lane, fire it. But that means the forwards need to go crash.
Yeah.
Make sure they get the rebounds.
And the forwards have to speed to the net, right?
Yes.
Like if you're going to if that puck's coming back and you're on the forecheck, your forwards need to be going like bats out of hell to get up there to help that defender make an inevitable play.
100%.
And then the other thing, and by the way, I could be completely wrong about this, but when I think about defending that blue line, if they're coming at you and you're sliding back into the neutral zone and you're giving up that ground, you're making it way too easy on the other team to pass across the neutral zone to somebody who may be skating with them.
Sure. I think the thing that really carries the weight there is just being aggressive.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes we play a little timid, when it comes to, we allow things to happen, I feel. I think if they just come out with that killer instinct, which I know they have it because I've watched them play that way.
Oh, yeah.
So just come out and get it.
Treat every puck like it's your puck.
Absolutely. I mean, Mike says, who's my wolf?
Yeah.
Right? He says that all the time on the bench. Who's my wolf? Who's my wolf? Who's going to step up?
And then we got 2 really good goalies.
Sure.
What do you say to them? Doesn't matter who's going in net, right? Game by game. Just like, what do you say to them?
I think the biggest advice I have is I'm both sound, with their form. I think if one goes in, don't let it bother you. Let it go.
Yeah.
Move to the next because you're going to get shot on more, depending on some of these teams. But again, it all goes into cohesion. If we play aggressive, we take pucks, we get in the way, that makes our goalie's life a little bit easier. They're making saves, but maybe not as many.
Yeah.
And I think that if there is a goal that goes in, just move on. Next play.
I think communication is huge from a goalie.
Oh yeah.
Massive, right? Even if I'm the goalie and I can see the clock and I know that either a penalty is winding down for the other team, right?
Sure.
Or I know that our penalty kill is going to be full strength, right? Communicating, yelling that to your team, letting them know. Especially, and it's happened a few times where we have somebody on a fast break, like a great opportunity, and the clock is winding down. They can't see the clock.
No.
They need to know, hey, that clock is winding down. That's a great opportunity for goalies. And you see them do it in the NHL. You'll hear them clack their sticks with 10 seconds, right? So that audible cue is to let your forwards know, like, hey, you're winding down on the clock. So that's advanced, probably, right? Sure. But the point is, communication and talking to your guys. Hey, I couldn't see that puck coming through. Can you, reposition yourself, around the crease?
Absolutely.
So, that's it for this, right? I mean, our plan is to really kind of after the weekends and games to talk about, who had, goals, assists, save percentages, things like that, right? We want the kids to look forward to hearing how their lines performed.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. If the lines stay stagnant.
Sure.
But we want them. I shouldn't say we. I hope I'm okay speaking
all of us.
for you. Yeah, we want them to take ownership in their game.
Sure.
Right? Take pride in your game. Take pride and ownership in the performance and the score that's on the board before somebody goes and clears it for the next game, right? You have to own that, whether it's a win or a loss. and just keep learning from it. So we wanted to do this to keep the numbers and certain things in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
No, I was just sorry with you. I was gonna have 5 keys to success this season.
Are you kidding me?
Since it's a preseason.
I love this.
Preseason talk. First things first, defense and goalie play. I think that we touched on this. We're not going to dwell on it anymore. Obviously, aggressiveness for the defensive side, and the defense is played by all 5 positions, by the way, offense and defense.
Yes.
And then obviously the goalies, protecting the goalies, and then like I said, you let one in, let it go. Zone entry and exit. I think some of the games that were our worst games, we had issues getting in. That's that dump and chase philosophy. And the best games that we had, we were excellent at dumping and chasing. 3 is passing development. I think hockey is a team sport, obviously, so passing across ice, finding open players, keeping your head up is a huge deal. There is no checking, so keeping your head down for that a long period of time while you're handling the puck, nobody's going to come up and blindside you.
Right, yeah.
Right? So keep your head up. You got to feel for your stick.
Can I add something to passing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the things that I would add to that is you have to pass with confidence and conviction. And what I mean by that is if you're making a pass across the neutral zone or down to a forward that's by the crease, you own that pass.
Put something on it.
Make the pass. Not a saucer pass.
Or a backhanded
Right.
pass.
Right.
Yeah.
But own that pass. Like, hey, I'm getting it from point A to point B, and I'm going to get it there.
Exactly.
Own it. Own it.
I like that. Number 4, trust each other. You guys are a team. Obviously, it's important to trust your teammates. You guys, the quicker you develop that trust, the quicker the wins come. And then the last thing is hustle. One thing I've learned since obviously we were Squirts last year, coming to this level, it's a different level of hustle. The game is different. It requires hustle. So I think those are the 5 keys. And I think if we nail those or get better at them throughout the season, I think our win-loss record will reflect it.
Yeah, I think if you're coming off the ice from your shift and you feel like you could go right back out there, you probably didn't give enough.
That's true.
And I know that kind of sounds harsh, and I don't mean it to be.
No,
but
yeah.
like nobody should come off not feeling like I need to catch my breath. You gotta go.
I think Mike would stand by that statement.
Yeah.
I want you to come off drained, especially if you have 3 full lines.
3 full lines.
That means
Yes.
you're typically sitting anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes in between your first and last shift. So obviously
Yeah.
water, hydration, all that stuff, rest, but hustle.
And be up on that wall. Clack your sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Let your teammates know you're there.
Sure.
Like there are teams, Pittsburgh Vengeance, for example, right? We weren't much of a task for them.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But they were rooting their kids on from the beginning of the first period to the end of the third period.
100%.
Up on the wall, slamming their sticks, celebrating everything they were doing, high-fiving, fist bumping. You gotta embrace that. You gotta let the guys that are out there digging know that you're appreciating the effort they're putting in. It's an easy thing to do,
Yep.
right? So okay, what else? Those are good, by the way.
I don't think I have anything else.
No.
No.
All right. Well, we'll do another one of these when we get a chance. We're gonna do some things, tournaments, probably like get to know the kids.
Yep.
Right. We tried that last year. I failed you, but you came through on Facebook.
That was awesome, by the way. Some funny responses.
So good. Yeah, everyone will enjoy that.
Marcella's Pizza. That's all I got to say.
All right. And I would sign off by saying be a wolf.
Yeah.
Be a wolf.
Be a wolf and win and
Yeah.
want it.
All right. That's it.
See ya.
Good luck out there.